Most people think a six-figure salary is the finish line. They think once they make it, the stress disappears. But here is the cold, hard truth. The more you earn, the closer you are to a total financial collapse. Welcome to the Golden Cage. Today, I'm showing you why a $500,000 salary is actually a high-velocity danger zone, and why the surgeon in the mansion is often closer to bankruptcy than the teacher next door. If you think you're safe because your paycheck is big, you're already in danger. Let's get into why the view from the top is a very long way to fall. Today we are talking about why lifestyle inflation doesn't just nudge high earners, it hunts them. You have been told that earning $250,000 or $500,000 a year makes you rich. It doesn't. It actually makes you a massive target. I'm going to show you why the surgeon living in a $2 million mansion is often closer to bankruptcy than the local teacher with a modest pension. We are going to deconstruct the success paradox. This is the strange reality where your brand new Porsche and that luxury zip code aren't symbols of wealth at all. They're the very weights that are going to drown you when the economy shifts even an inch. By the end of this video, you will understand why your dream life is actually a high-maintenance nightmare. I am going to give you the exact framework to break this cycle before your big income becomes your biggest liability. If you think you are safe just because your paycheck is big, you are already in serious danger. Let's get into why the view from the top is actually a very long way to fall. The biggest problem with a $500,000 salary is that it creates a high-velocity danger zone. When you make that much money, the world expects you to spend it. Your bank offers you bigger loans, your friends invite you to more expensive dinners, your neighbors drive cars that cost as much as a small house, you start moving at a high speed. But if you are spending $480,000 to maintain that life, you are only one bad month away from losing everything. You aren't driving a luxury car, you are driving a debt machine. This is what I call optical wealth. It looks great in photos, it looks amazing on Instagram, but it is hollow on the inside. True power comes from structural wealth. This is the kind of money that stays in your pocket and works for you while you sleep. Most high earners are just rich broke. They have the big house and the fancy watch, but they have zero freedom. If they stop working today, their life ends tomorrow. We are going to fix that. We are going to move you from looking rich to actually being rich. We are going to turn your income into an army that protects you instead of a burden that weighs you down. To break the cycle, we first have to break the biggest lie in finance. Most people think that wealth and income are the same thing. They are not. Income is just the fuel, but wealth is the engine. If you have a massive fuel tank but a broken engine, you aren't going anywhere. To see how this works, let's look at two different people, Executive Eric and Manager Maggie. Eric is the guy everyone envies. He earns $400,000 a year. He lives in a massive house with a $10,000 monthly mortgage. He drives two luxury SUVs with huge lease payments. His kids go to the most expensive schools. On the outside, Eric looks like a king, but on the inside, Eric is terrified. After taxes and his high-end lifestyle, he has almost nothing left at the end of every month. He is rich broke. He is running on a treadmill that is set to the highest speed. If Eric loses his job, his entire life vanishes in 30 days. He has no margin for error. He is a high earner, but he is actually poor because his net worth isn't growing. Now let's look at Manager Maggie. Maggie earns $150,000 a year. That is a great salary, but it's less than half of what Eric makes. However, Maggie lives a different way. She lives in a comfortable, modest home. She drives a reliable car that is already paid for. She spends $80,000 a year to live a very happy life, and she invests the other $70,000. While Eric is stressed about his next bonus, Maggie is building a fortress. She has structural wealth. If Maggie loses her job, she can survive for years without changing a single thing. This is the net worth mirage. We see Eric's car and think he is winning. We see Maggie's modest life and think she is just doing okay. But in reality, Maggie is the one with the power. Eric is just a high-paid servant to his own debt. High earners often fall into the luxury liability trap. They buy things that lose value while they're carrying costs. The money it takes just to keep those things eat their future. You have to realize that a high salary is not a safety net. It is a bigger tightrope. If you don't build a floor underneath you, the fall will be much harder. The hardest part of lifestyle inflation isn't actually the money you spend, it is the person you think you have to be. This is what I call the ego cost. When you start earning a high salary, you often buy a ticket into a new social circle. You move into a neighborhood where everyone has a perfect lawn and a brand new car in the driveway. You join clubs where the entrance fee costs more than most people spend on groceries in a year. At first, this feels like a reward for all your hard work, but very quickly it becomes a prison. You start to feel like you cannot show up to a meeting in an old car. You feel like you can't wear clothes from a normal store. You become terrified of social demotion. This is the deep, hidden fear that if you cut back your spending, the world will think you are failing. You worry that your friends will stop calling or that your neighbors will whisper about the for sale sign in your yard. This fear keeps you trapped in the golden cage. You end up spending money you don't really have to impress people you don't even really like. It is an exhausting game that you can never truly win because there is always someone with a bigger house or a faster car. This leads directly into the golden handcuffs. Imagine you have a job that pays you $300,000 a year, but you absolutely hate it. It makes you stressed, you never see your family, and your health is getting worse every day. In a normal world, you would just quit and find a job that makes you happy. But because of your lifestyle, you literally can't. You have an $8,000 mortgage payment, you have two $1,500 car payments, you have expensive school tuitions and club dues, you have built a life that requires every single penny of that high paycheck just to stay afloat for one more month. You aren't working for your dreams anymore, you are working for your bills. This makes your life incredibly fragile. High earners have a much higher survival cost than the average person. If a teacher loses their job, they might only need $3,000 a month to survive. They can find a way to make that happen. But if you need $20,000 a month just to keep your house from being taken away, you are in big trouble. You are living on the edge of a cliff, and the wind is starting to blow. The bigger the lifestyle you build, the harder the fall will be when things go wrong. Now that we have identified the trap, it is time to talk about the way out. You do not have to live like a monk, but you do have to stop being a slave to your own paycheck. The first step is the anti-inflation rule. Most people get a $20,000 raise and immediately go buy a $20,000 car. That is a trap that keeps you working forever. Instead, you should only eat 20% of any new money you make. If you get a big raise, use $4,000 of it to improve your life. Go to a nicer dinner or buy better coffee, but take the other $16,000 and throw it straight into your investments. This allows your lifestyle to grow slowly while your freedom grows rapidly. You are still enjoying your success, but you are not letting it own you. This simple rule creates a massive gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is where your real power lives. It is the difference between being a high earner and being a wealthy person. You also need to understand the difference between fixed and variable luxury. This is a huge mistake that high earners make every single day. A fixed luxury is a recurring bill that you must pay every month, like a massive mortgage or a high-end car lease. These are dangerous because they never go away, no matter what happens to the economy. A variable luxury is a one-time cost, like a 5-star vacation or a beautiful piece of art. If you have a bad month, you simply don't go on vacation. It is easy to cut that expense. But you cannot just stop paying your $8,000 mortgage without losing your home. To take back control, you must audit your burn rate. Ask yourself this: if my income went to zero tomorrow, how many months could I survive? For most people in the golden cage, the answer is terrifying. They might only have 3 or 4 months before they are totally broke. Your goal should be to lower your fixed costs so that your survival floor is as low as possible. When your expenses are low and your income is high, you are truly dangerous because you cannot be controlled by a boss or a bill. To break free from the golden cage, you have to stop tying your identity to your spending. This is the secret of structural wealth. Most people who look rich are actually just high-level consumers. They are the optical wealth crowd we talked about. But the truly wealthy, the ones who never have to worry about a recession, often look very ordinary. They have decoupled their ego from their bank account. They do not need a $3,000 watch to feel important because they have $3 million in the bank. When you stop trying to prove to the world that you are successful, you suddenly have a lot more money to actually be successful. You have to realize that no one cares about your car as much as you think they do. They are too busy worrying about their own lives. Once you stop playing the status game, the handcuffs come off. The pivot you need to make is simple. Stop buying things that lose value and start buying assets that pay for your life. Instead of using your high salary to buy a luxury SUV that loses half its value in 3 years, use that money to buy a rental property or a stock portfolio. Eventually, the profit from those investments will be big enough to pay for the luxury SUV for you. When your assets pay for your toys, you are invincible. You are no longer trading your time and stress for a lifestyle. You are using your wealth to fund your freedom. This is how you build a life that does not collapse when the economy gets shaky. You are not just a high earner anymore. You are a wealth builder. The economy does not care about your job title. It only cares about your margin. If you earn $500,000 but it costs you $490,000 to live, you are at more risk than a person earning $60,000 who only spends $40,000. High earners hit the ground the hardest because they have the furthest to fall. But it does not have to be that way. You have the income, now you just need the discipline to turn it into a fortress. Imagine waking up tomorrow knowing that even if your industry vanished, your family is safe for years. That feeling is better than any luxury car you could ever buy. If you're ready to stop being rich broke, hit the subscribe button. Download my free lifestyle audit tool in the description to see where your money is leaking. Start building your fortress today.